Then, the city system control the law in the world. So they went talking away.
When they were coming, they said they were freedom. When they were coming, they said they were liberators.
When they said
they keep their time,
they let it send it to me. Then, funny how they keep their time. How they almost have to the robbing house. Then the brothers have chosen the money. They didn't tell me they had it for me.
You freedom fighter, you heard
that was finished. You were me to come into some.
freedom fighter, you in our children. Freedom fighter, you destroy our country.
And they want to go. You are here with your festival. And you are here with our one election. And we send the report on documents. Legal documents. To guide where. Then for that one, for the decision, so what is going on?
When they were coming, they said they were liberators. When they were coming, they said they were liberators.
We embellished. You're selling. Your job is to embellish. It's a continue against a piece of bone racket. Did you think I knew? Or did you think I would slow you for a rescue? Just thinking about history filled with a cake. A man who can operate a laptop computer. No, we settled. We get a compromise. That's what we did. We settled.
Oh yes, indeed. What a great and pleasant morning it is. And of course, an interesting opportunity to be back behind these microphones to engage on the subjects that matter most to Liberia's growth and development. It is a rainy Tuesday morning from the nation's capital in Monrovia. Just wherever you are this morning on our voice. Good morning, welcome to yet another fascinating conversation on the nation's premier breakfast platform, the Freedom Money Rise, on Freedom 87.9, the People's Station. Yes, indeed. So prepare your rain gear. For those of you that are still home and trying to make your way, it's raining in Central Town. Yes, indeed. So you have to come ready. Today appears like it's going to be a rainy day. So make sure, and you don't have to put in any excuse, because look, you have to work. Because jobs are very difficult to come by, and of course losing the one you have could be very detrimental for you and your family. So do all you can to protect the job you have, and get your jacket, your rain boot, your umbrella, just whatever you need to carry you through, and make sure you report to duty. Good morning to our friends in the diaspora, and thanks for joining us as always. And this morning, like always, there are too many things to talk about, lots of things happening in the country. And yes, indeed, a pleasant good morning and welcome to yet another opportunity. And of course, the menu looks very jam and loaded. Too many on the plate. too many issues on the plate, mouth-watering issues. So we're going to do our best to rumble through all of those issues and make sense. Indeed. It is kind of unreal that the president is in America, but the United Party, North Maker, so conspicuously silent. And the guys are not talking much. It's like everybody's scared and worried. They don't know what the outcomes will be. So it's not a moment to celebrate or make noise about. And with everything that's happening around these American travel of the president, the American travel, the guys are just keeping whatever to themselves. So yeah, Bwaka is supposed to be in the United States now for the showdown. The meeting starts tomorrow.
When they were coming, they said they were labor.
They might say, but what is Bwaka even going to say?
They were coming, they said they were labor.
He's just going to sit there supinely and be told what to do, what not to do.
When they came,
then gets on the plane and it's back to the country. So we have the list of the presidents, the release of the president's delegation. We're going to read that for you. Yesterday, the U.S. Embassy near Monrovia issued a release on the official Facebook handle commending and announcing that the government of Liberia has entered into an agreement with HPX Ivanhoe Limited. What is the details of that? We'll also bring you up to speed, plus other issues. There are different and of course mixed views and reactions to particularly the conspicuous silence again. Imagine the government celebrated a $22 million yellow machine that up to now we don't see it. But the government signs $1.2 billion and nobody is saying anything. Even Mika, wow, more, they curse her and they insult her and they woo human being to Mika. All of them opening their mouth to say a jing thing. Something not good. My first time I see people get plenty of money, but they're not happy. People get plenty of money, but they're not happy. So why is the government not happy? We'll make sure we celebrate this 1.2 million. Okay, we are going to ensure that we celebrate. In fact, this coming Friday, we're declaring this coming Friday the $1.2 billion celebration Friday. All road leads to Mary Sharp. For those of you that have not seen us at Mary Sharp, you're going to see us for the first time. We'll come there, we'll force our men, and we will buy the food. They will buy drink, I will buy food for our men, and they'll eat. We'll play music with them. Well, what kind of food now, government? Yeah, Caesar got up. When they were coming, and they said they were freedom fighters, they were liberators. But when it came their time, 419 BM speed, BM level. How you and the man go sound contract 1.2 billion? The other man happy, but you're not happy. What happened? You gotta tell what happened on that faithful Sunday. That the US people happy, they celebrating and posting on the page, but our own man is not happy. So what happened? Mama can roll yellow clothes to buy around for yellow machine that will not see it. That one we see it up to now, it's still going back and forth. Then the other one say, oh, now Sunday, what a preliminary conclusion. There were the idea that pen and people have gone to work and $1.2 billion coming. Don't forget about the fact that it was, $5 billion or something. But at least that billion said because the government struggling that billion coming. But he got good morning, man. Just before he got quickly, PLO folks will be here. Our good friend Ato Wawili will be here to talk to us about Pan-Africanism and the work of the PLO Lumumba Foundation in Liberia and other issues. Good morning.
Good morning, Abu. Good morning. It reminds me of the song that Panto sang. Everybody think I'm okay. So everybody hearing about the billion, Sabine say I will buy this place for 16 billion or billion. But it's good.
Investors Sabine.
Yeah, it's good that we hear that at least our government today, is talking about our partners are talking about 1.8 billion, but our government is tight-lipped. Even though this is the government that left from here and went China, not China, but Indonesia, they said they've had a gentleman agreement and they will make sure to have a 5 billion due from that agreement and all of that. And everything the government has said has been billion. And today, it is shocking that the government have signed another billion, and partners are the ones telling Liberians. Even though this government is a government that every little thing, the PR, they put more time into PR, but why this time around such a huge amount, 1.8 billion, according to what the U.S. Embassy wrote? And in fact, this entire story, Abu, Liberian journalists were prevented from following the entire signing ceremony. It should have been held on Saturday, but it was postponed to Sunday. And when journalists got there on Sunday, they were told by the protocols that
no journalists
were allowed in, and in fact, it was close to the media. And then this story had to be reported by a U.S.-based newspaper outlet. Yes, U.S.-based newspaper outlet. It was that.
So two parties go in a room to do deal.
One say
the other party.
The other party.
So probably it was not a mutually term.
So, but you cannot be doing us like this, and Abu, but we will get into that conversation. But today is Tuesday, and today is also the first semi-final clash of the FIFA Club World Cup. And so today, Barcelona, no, maybe will be playing today. so today is Tuesday, and today so but that's how the game is. The begin use that market strategy the begin agent use. For me, on a friend go after bad on Friday.
But all the time
but the thing is Abu, this thing, it should not be that Baka won for him. Barcelona won for him last season. And after he refused, the team said they weren't going back. So this season, he informed his agent that have a conversation with Barcelona. I would like to go to Barcelona, and that's how it started. So
and then what did Barca did
nothing. Barcelona was willing to pay the 62 million release clause. It was 58 million plus 4 million in tax.
So they said the deal fell through some.
No, it did not. No. That is a strategy that the agent has said.
Is it the picture that when Baga is unable to register there, he should be allowed to go?
No. That was just let's be frank. Nobody, let's take it from Barcelona. Nobody will go and spend 62 million of their money on somebody that they know they're not able to register. Okay, let's look at now. Barcelona is willing now to pay over 70 million for Luis Diaz. You think they will spend that kind of money and know they're not able to register the person? From Liverpool. So you think they will spend that kind of money and not able to register the person? So that was not a condition.
From your field.
No, it's not about taking shame from our fields. There were people even before Nico Williams came in the race. There were players that Barcelona was considering, and those players are Rafael Leo from AC Milan. You had Nico or Luis Diaz, and you got Rashford from Manchester United. So these are the players. Nico just brought himself in, but he was not part of the area playing. But let's forget about that. Today is Tuesday. You will have some one player. One player that you put him on somebody that won trophy. That's it.
What are your whole dream to won't begin the beginning?
So Barcelona won 2 trophies last season without him. So
they are posting the man and Lamia.
So the fight is we are here, and today is Tuesday, and so the Wisi WhatsApp promotion is up on the Wings Like broadcast giveaway right here on Freedom 87.9, the Freedom Morning Rise. So all you have to do for just $50 Liberian, $50 Liberian. That in your Bakuvu, it can allow you to win money that can make you to buy a bag of rest and change still living. So how you do it? *255 *1 ##.
Yeah.
*255 *1 ##. And then you just after a few seconds you'll be asked the currency you want to play from, whether USD or LD. But if you're using USD, you have to have at least 25 cents on your USD account, or $50 Liberian, 25 cents USD or $50 Liberian. And then with that, you just dial *255 *1 ##. Okay, and then if you're using $100 to play one time, now $100 can allow you to play 2 times.
Correct.
300 can allow you to play 6 times, and the more you play, the better your chances are to win. So let's see. I can even use like $600 that will allow me to play.
Somebody play $800 yesterday, right?
Okay, so $800 can allow me to play the more, and then I stand a better chance to win. So it is up to you. The time check is 5 minutes up to 8 o'clock. Let's see, between now to 8:15, the next 20 minutes or so, we can give out money to you, but we have to reach the threshold. So it's up to you. *255 *1 ##, and then just for 50 LD, you can stand a chance to receive. The price is between. Come in. Let me make sure here so I know where we are. The price here. Yeah, so the price here is between 4,000 or 5,000 or 10,000, any one of them. But the reason you see we can give 4,000, it depends how many times you play. If we have to step up from the 4,000, it would depend how many times you play that will give you 5,000, and it will depend how many times you play that will give you 10,000. So that is why it is. So when we say between 4,000 to 10,000, it doesn't just mean that we just give the 10,000 like that. No, depending on how you play, that's how you stand a chance to win. So let's watch and see this morning. It is up to you now. The more you play, the better your chances are. Even if you're not here talking about it, go ahead and just move on, and we'll do draw here. Why we follow up here this morning. So let's wait. It's up to you this morning. We'll see.
That's correct. So let's take comments from our guys on the Facebook feed. But just
let's take
that, yes. Let's welcome our partner, Crime Stopper Liberia, to begin. And Crime Stopper Liberia spends a lot of money in community services, community awareness, and all of that. We'll also bring you when we're having conversations about the police RG launched the TikTok studio yesterday. You know, the RG led doing TikTok in it. So he has built some a podcast studio at the police headquarters now, so it makes it easier to do the TikTok video and things. And so, I mean, in commissioning the TikTok studio, he also made some utterances that I believe was somehow unnecessary to an extent, right? The caveat, I mean, there even misinformation within it, because what we have been able to establish is that the organizers of the protest have notified the Ministry of Justice about its protest activities. In fact, yesterday we announced the 3 days they talked about, and of that 3 days, day one is going to be a memorial parade, as we are told. They've informed the Ministry of Justice about that. And day two is going to be what day two is going to be another stuff, and then day three would be day two would be peace awareness march.
Okay.
Where they're going to have a caravan or a vehicle decorated with peace messages, and to go around the community, peace and non-violence messages around, and then on the third day will be the civil, non-violent, democratic protests to send message around particular subjects that they have identified as issues the government should consider. So to have heard the police RG in dedication or in, unveiling his TikTok studio, talk about these things and threatening about bringing guns. I don't know. So if the police know that there are people with guns, unauthorized guns, why are they not pursuing them? Why are they not getting the gun? But for the police to say that people with gun, they shouldn't bring their gun. When they bring their gun, we'll bring guns. So in essence, the police was actually using that means to tell us that on the day of the protest, they're going to bring guns. But we'll go more into that after the break with Crime Stopper and other issues.
There are crimes in many places, in every community, you can see. So if you see crime, report it. Don't take law in your hands for your authority. Let it come take care of it. Crime stop right here for us. We need safety to your door. Whether you rich or you poor. If you see you want talk, enemy, you check. Do it for safety. If you see don't keep it. I'm a part of the boy. Stop, people bringing safety to your door. Stop it, cry and make it peace for them before. Stop Liberia, from the center to interior. Keeping us safe, let's stop it, crime for all of us. Stop, people bringing safety to your door. Stop it, cry and make it peace for them before. Stop Liberia, from the center to interior. Keeping us safe, let's stop it, crime for all of us.
Crime Stopper Liberia is your community crime fighting partner. Don't take the law into your own hands. Remember, if you see a crime, report it. This is a message from your own self, old man Sam Sion.
Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stop it, cry and make it peace for them before. Crime Stopper Liberia, from the center to interior. Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, let's stop it, crime for all of us. Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stop it, cry and make it peace for them before. Crime Stopper Liberia, from the center to interior. Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, let's stop it, crime for all of us.
Okay, Crime Stopper Liberia. And so, yeah, welcome back, folks. This is the Freedom Money Rise on Freedom 87.9. And so, let's recognize our family here, right? Kindly share the live and make sure it reaches as far as we all can share. Please, that's all you can do for us this morning on the show, as always.
You can do so right here on the show. So continue to share the live, invite others to follow. Yes, because we're here to do more here this morning. And also the code this morning is *255. I see somebody say asking *255 *1# for just $50 $50. You stand a chance to receive anything between 4,000 to 10,000 this morning for just 50 LB. So let's start up first, then we'll come back. We'll see whether we can give money to somebody here. Malu F. Fofana says, good morning. I'm following from Turner Street. Honorable J.D. Williams says, I'm watching from Johnsonville. Lloyd Gillette says, good morning, Freedom family. I'm watching you guys live from my police academy junction outside of Monrovia. Peters Emmanuel says, good morning, Abu and Higa. Good morning, Peter. Chris Casimiro Thomas says, greetings, Abu. I am disappointed in the government and U.S. Embassy for this Nicodemus behavior of our government. This due works of desperation. It does not align with the values of good governance or national transformation. If this agreement were truly beneficial to Liberia, it would not need to be hiding from Liberians. He says that. Agatha Glasgow says, I'm watching from Tinkers Village, RI Road, where the common citizen children live. James Lamini says, so we'll not be taking one comment each from all of our commenters. We can't go further than that because of time. James Lamini says, good morning, Brother Abu. We move on to Carl Hill Poku. Kahipoku said, good morning. I am watching live from my residence in Lower Margibi County, Cotton Tree. Margibi got a new superintendent designate. Marie B. Colley to one OG Morris. One OG Morris.
They got hustling for you.
Marie B. Corey says, good morning, following from 20th Street. Faith Moba says, good morning, Freedom FM family. Every day is a dark day for Liberia. Imagine Bwaka is in the great United States of America and still there is no hope of any light coming from Washington to Liberia. However, it is not surprising to me because Bwaka is a symbol of darkness and only darkness can produce, produce, okay. Kadiatu Kimber November Queen says, I am watching from the heat. It should be the heartbeat of President Riyadh, District 14, Mosharado County. Thank you, Abu, for the show this morning. Okay. Samuel Light Cooper says, good morning, Brother Abu and Hagar. I am following from Cardware as usual. Mr. President signed a concession worth over 1.8 billion, and with the loudmouth ministers and partisans, we did not hear anything from the government. Aaron Corey says, good morning, Aaron Corey watching you from Lovingtown SDA community. Okay, that's Peter Siriu Kaye says, good morning, my Freedom family. May God bless you guys for providing information to the Liberian people every day. Thank you so kindly. Jeremiah Farr says, good morning, folks. I am watching from Grand Julia County, a mining sector. He says that it's forsaken for our country that such concession agreement, which entails 1.8 billion, is signed on a Sunday without notifying the public. Pucci says today, okay. Okay, so like I said, we just move on to one. Venetia's Junior Bar says, following from New Crew Town. Daniel Jiba says, good morning, Freedom FM family. I'm watching you from District 17, Montserrado County, Broadway City to be precise, Iron Gate community. Juju Wawe says, good morning, guys. Please share. Okay, Juju. Venetia's Junior is watching. Henry T. Toll Jr. says, good morning. I am following you up from my residence in Kawe. Thanks for the information to our country, Mama Liberia. Patrick Collins says, good morning, guys. Momo Vikings says, good morning, Freedom. Isaac Saki says, good morning, Freedom family. I'm following from Johnsonville community. Beningo God Time Flumo says, pay by installment FC. Now, basically, the wants the red payment. Valikura says, good morning, guys. I am always watching from Banjul, the Gambia. Look man Kana says, good morning, Abu and Higa. I'm watching live from Grand Cape County, King Joe. David A.D. Koyi says, good morning, guys. I'm watching from Gatnersville Town Hall community. Lance Grandpa says, good morning. I'm watching from Ganta. Mobile Vikings, the best station in Liberia, best analysis. Intellectual Mind is watching. Mohammed Mariama J. Sharif says, good morning, Abu. I'm watching from Mamadi Dakite, Intellectual Forming, Jacob Town, St. Francis Community. From Rescue Mission to Rebury Mission, from 5 billion to 1.8 billion for one government. He says that. Samson W. Wama says, good morning, Freedom FM. I'm watching from Nango's Town around the SKD Sports Complex. Adonis Toby says, good morning, Freedom FM. I'm watching from the city of Bukana. Aliu Kamara says, good morning, guys. Good morning, Aliu. Lemuel Chairman Bloom Peking. How are you doing, good people? I'm viewing from Owo District 10. Andrew T. Nando says, good morning, Abu and Higa. I am following from my residence in Thumbs Up Community Township of Cardwell. Cardwell is producing. Cardwell and Johnsonville are the two views. Two areas are always producing real viewers here. Tony Blapo Kufa.
Power in Johnsonville.
Yeah. Tony Blapo Kufa. Good morning, guys. Watching from California. Good job. Yeah, keep it up. Frank Menyon says, good morning, guys. I'm following the show from my transit point on the Somalia Draft Chipen Freeway. Mark Kura, I am watching live from Ganta City. He says, the Honorable Thomas and Sabo, I'm watching from Abidjan, Big Brothers. He says that. Petronina, Bobby Nico. Good morning, guys. I'm watching from Freetown, Sierra Leone. Thank you. That's all we've got for now. And yes, you can continue to share the live, and of course,
begin in Abidjan.
Yeah.
So, folks, thanks to all of you, and it's good that we are back here, eager, to engage. It's for the sake of our people that we come here to unravel and report on all of these things that's happening to our country. Because mind you now, and that's what I tell people, government is always transitional, right? No matter what, no matter how long, this government is going to go, but the country is going to remain, right? And our aspirations are also going to be there. So whatever the government will do has an impact on what becomes of our life. So that's why those of us say, oh, but they can do, they're more on the paper, they're more on the government, this, that. Yeah, because the government is the custodian of our lives.
So if we don't have anything to do about it, means the government is not giving
exactly. But this is it's born out of limitation, right? So we can't get emotional about those ones. Basically, all we have to do is to help educate them, right? And we know they're only being sentimental because a lot of them, all they consider is the fact that, me, I party green. So once it's party green, Abu and Hagar, I don't have to be critical about that. And this is not the thing. But now, so just imagine that on a Sunday, while you were either busy in church or having dinner, right? The whole country was locked in a secret meeting to sign, a concessional agreement
that should be benefiting you
with a company that we saw the executive mansion and the company's executives in Delaware exchanging verbal insults at each other, right? When the public relation lady from Ivanhoe sat in Delaware and literally insulted our president. And the
Director General of LBS.
Exactly, the Director General of LBS, and insulted the whole
on Facebook Live.
People.
Say America was bringing war.
The economic advisor to the president wrote a denigrating communication. So what changed subsequently, and the two of them got into some kind of secret meeting, is this how, in keeping with law or responsible governance, the country is supposed to be entering into concessional or even any kind of formal, and somebody say it's an asset usage agreement and not a concession. You see how when you take stupid people, you put them in government, all can happen. It's stupid training now. You're calling on radio. Oh, I'm calling for my reading. We not get no reading. Stupid man, whole day telephone. Oh, I'm calling for my reading. It will be right to drink on me while we're baking for banana liquor. You say, oh, are you need a party man? I can call on the radio. Give me liquor again. Liquor. And I'm beginning can be talking. But anyway, this is we have understood some things about why the government decided to proceed in the way, form, and manner they did. Right? So there is, let me share it with you quickly, and then we see what we can get. There's a very beautiful perspective that's been shared. Right? There's a very beautiful perspective that's been shared by a fellow Liberian, right? On why things proceeded the way. And there are other views as well that will also bring you up to speed with, right? Because it's important, right? We all want these things. That the same way the yellow machine thing or happening, cookie deal, we talk it, say, oh, it turned out to be 4-1 now. Everything we said about the yellow machine came to pass. Now, so Robert Glady Gagua Jr. writes, and he says, congratulations to the rescue mission and thanks to the U.S. government for being transparent. So that means in this process, it was the U.S. government, right, through the embassy, that showed transparency. The $1 million question is, why has the government of Liberia not shared this in a celebratory tone from 5 billion to 1.8 billion? Here is what I have been told by sources. Now, JMB and the government of Liberia were pressured into prematurely signing this trade deal while folks were having Sunday dinner. When the government shared in February that a $5 billion partnership deal for multi-user rails were being discussed, they didn't necessarily lie. What suddenly changed is the African Summit invite. The government's desperate desire for a possible warehouse red carpet invite to meet President Chom and the players involved. Remember, Robert Finlay has close ties to the Chom's administration. I'm told very close buddy, right, to Mr. Chom's himself, administration, and some powerful people at the White House who want to see this deal go through for third-party outsourcing. That means they will kind of collect, then they will go to outsources to another third party. They will make profit all of the country. Even who has no intention to transport iron ores from Guinea, as that country is advancing steps to commission its own railway. I am told a direct communication to JMB insisted on a deal before his today's departure to the US. You getting it? Mm-hmm. When JMB left the country, so on Monday, right? So a communication, an instruction was given JMB that before you put your phone on this American soil, make sure they even hold something you sign it. So that's how on Sunday, while people busy in church,
he had to call a service shot to Sunday.
Yeah, while people busy in church singing, "They don't care me all around, you can't do me nothing."
Put out their son.
the devil grabbed a president again. He was sunny, right? So this is it. This reminded me of the case with Obasanjo and Taylor. Obasanjo was instructed to turn Taylor over or don't bother coming to DC. Suddenly, Taylor was found by Nigerian custom officers trying to cross into Cameroon while Obasanjo boarded his flight to DC. JMB has boarded to America with an unannounced deal low. Lot of laugh. Why? The government of Liberia allegedly requested that the deal be announced a later date. So you see, that's what you see. Only the US are celebrating or announcing or reporting, but the government of Liberia not talking because clandestinely the government said, okay, we'll sign it. Say also we'll sign it, but we're not taking your man. Let we will go for America to come back and so the boys say, okay, yeah, so they both fire it. So what we don't know is what this deal entails. Of course, none of us know. All we know is that a deal has been signed. What does the deal look like? Is it purple? Is it red? Is it green, yellow, blue, or whatever? We just don't know. What's in it for Liberia? Nobody knows. Even the president himself does not know. Because he wanted to go Washington. Because he wanted to go Washington for red carpet and say, oh, the president met Donald Trump. So he signed. Then he begged people say, we'll make sure, but your man announced 18 years, I mean, go come back, then later on, we'll just announce it. It came from the back. And this is the reason why you're seeing no government official running
the first institution that reported that and said was an American newspaper outlet. And it was followed by the American embassy near Monrovia.
Correct. So what we don't know is what this deal entails and how it benefits Liberia, and that is troubling. The deal is still subject to legislative review, but what is even more concerning is the potential legal issues. The existing MDA with AML gives 100% control over the Yekepa-Bikana Railway. Mind you, Baga was vice president when they signed and entered this agreement with Asilo. It's still there. So there's a legal conundrum that exists, in all of these conversations. However, Baga ignores those and enter. This is going to be embarrassing. Somebody say, "Oh, Baga playing the people smart. Yes, son, because you won't go to America when you come back." Then you tell the people, say, "Oh, we already got something here, so it's not possible." The repercussion to that, do you understand it? Should we all be, going through that for Baga? Absolutely not. That's why he has to run a responsible government. The existing MDA of AML gives AML 100% control over the Yekepa-Bikana Railway. Let's see how a railway access deal with Ivanhoe unfolds. There is more to this than meets the eye. The more you read about these deals, the angrier you get.
And you wanted to read that from how you call it, like one investigator right out yesterday.
Go ahead. Yeah, let's read all we can lay our hands on about this deal, because they say there is devil in the details. Like the guy said, the more you read, the more you follow this whole deal and this transaction with the government of Liberia and Ivanhoe, the more angry you get, the more disappointed you get. And you just get so frustrating. How is the government proceeding in this kind of childish form and manner and all of that? So there's a lot of things people do not know, right? You can challenge the surreptitious nature in which the government proceeded. This government have made it clear to us that they were continuing with Asilo meter, single user dominance.
Something is going on. The link from that my one investigator story I'm checking. I'm noticing that he has been taken down.
Okay, we'll not conclude. Man, so we'll call him later. I can kingdom.
Yeah, I can. A part of it. It's important that we get to
it or be part of the government desire to keep the matter secret.
Right. If there is anything that we get to understand what it is right here, but we hear.
We get to problem. Remember, they can call the two guys on it.
So, good morning. If you're just joining us, and welcome. This is the Freedom Morning Rise, and we here. We can give money to somebody, 4,000 right here to somebody who have played here, and hope this person can pick. Don't take off our time. So it's star 255 star 1## for just 50 LD. I don't need a back. You can use money that you receive here to buy a bag of rice. And now the least money here this morning is $4,000. So somebody has won 4,000, and we're doing this to bring it out to somebody who have won 4,000 right here. So star 255 star 1#, okay, and then you move on. Good morning. Morning, ma'am. This is Higa Gandai. I'm here calling you from Freedom FM. Good morning. Did you play the Freedom cash giveaway this morning?
Yeah.
How many times you did so? You see how many times you played? Good morning.
Who's talking to us?
That you play where?
Yeah.
You played the cash giveaway this morning?
Yeah.
How many times?
4 or 5 times.
So let's say 5 times. So if you're doing it, then at 150.
No, more than that.
5 times. 50-50.
Yeah, I think right, bro. 4.5
Yeah, but you still got money there. Do they play at 50-50? We're taking around 100.
I know.
Yeah, so if you play 2 times at 100, right?
At 250.
So if you play 5 times at 250, it should be 250. So check your phone. I don't money there, but if you check your phone, you receive 4,000 as part of our winners of this morning. All right. So the code here is star 255 star 1##, star 255 star 1##. You okay? Then give it a few seconds. The list, the question will be asked which currency you want to play from. Then you can select the currency you want to play from, and then yes, we move on. You enter your PIN, that is it. So again, when you reach to a point where you'll be asked prompt, you'll be waiting for the prompt and you can't come, you just have to go back to *156# and then enter 8 and then enter 2 like that. You will see something that my approval. Just go to my approval. You can easily approve what it is, like when you move on. That's why it is. So *255 *1 ##, okay, then you move on. So we said we're going to give the first morning at 8:20 and we got 8:24. So between now to 8:40, depending on whether you can play continuously here, then we give our money to some other persons again here. So let's wait to see, but you can continue to play right here. For just $50 dollars, you still have a chance to receive 4,000, between 4,000 to 10,000, out of 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, or whatever. But it depends on the way you play. It depends how many times you play that way. You will either choose to win 5,000, 4,000, or even 6,000. But it's good. Let's go on right here this morning.
Exactly. So this is it. The president's travel to the U.S., for the most part, come across clearly as a bargaining, and that have seen him enter into preliminary agreement to allow Ivanhoe access, to the railway, the Yekipa-Bikana, right, railway. Something that there is already in force, an existing concession agreement that gives 100% control to AML. With a clause, and this is where CDC was grappling. CDC was, grappling, and CDC posted, whatever agreement is it, you have to go meet AML. You sit down, you agree among yourself, then you come back to order, and then we consummate the deal.
And Abu, I'm aware that that's how some other companies are interested in working in Lima. That's how they had to leave this country. Example, the Survey mining company, I'm sure you heard about that. And that was the same thing that
exactly.
the citizen government said. To avoid future embarrassment, you either choose to sit with Meta, you settle whatever this agreement.
Because Meta reserves the right on the plate and they pursue the government of Nigeria, right? Yeah. And besides, this is an inherited mess. This mess was signed and entered into by the very president now, who was then vice president. They signed and awarded that to Asilomita. You remember Asilomita brought a pickup truck and started distributing it around, right? He got his own. So all of them put the country in the mess, in the conundrum, and today we are where we are. And then they continue in the cycle of embarrassment, disgrace, and shame on the country only for themselves. Now, the president is leaving. And our interest is not that we should not be waiting for the U.S. embassy to tell us what the government, is doing in terms of
the running of the country.
The running of the country, selling our assets and all of that. Why did the government refuse to announce to the Liberian people that she was entering or having, agreement conversations with Ivanhoe and HPX? It clearly tells us that the government of Liberia hands are being forced into agree terms with Ivanhoe, which is not public. And civil society will have to speak to this. Have to demand the government to come out public, and somebody says there is, there is a concession committee that gets set up. And then they draft the concession, right? The president gets to approve that concession. And if you're telling me what was signed on Sunday was the president's approval that is supposed to go directly to the legislature, then there is still a problem. There is still a problem. For me, I doubt 100% if that 1.8 billion, the 5 billion, the 1.8 billion, whatever billion will come here. Is everything a hawk. Shenanigans. 419. This government. And when we say these things, we know why we are saying these things. We are saying it from very informed perspective. The government is bringing nothing here anywhere. Because anything that's good, here will not start with
crooked high and sitting and all of that.
It will come clear and everybody will see it. So basically, we all need to ask our president, and we are waiting to see. But we are all just being concerned. Why is it that a whole $1.8 billion, almost $2 billion, and
huge money
in a contract, and we're not talking about it, we're not celebrating. So if what we're hearing in Gossip Corner that the president is trying to play, HPX, if the president plays HPX, what would that mean for us going forward?
And I tend to agree with that fact that the president and the government intend to play HPS, because if you look at the legal requirements to sign such agreement, the government did not follow. Up to now, we are yet to understand whether or not the government follow, because even when conversation or agreements of such, when it surface at the legislature, the committees responsible, like the Committee of Concession and Investment, will have to call the parties involved. Even the NRC will have to come in. The National Investment Commission will have to come in. And Gregory Coleman will serve as police director. He knows that because he served at the NRC before.
NBC.
The NBC before. So all of these things can happen, and the parties involved will be called, and they will have to face public scrutiny or legislative scrutiny, or whatever you want to call it, because these are agreements, or that is agreement that when it is signed, it have either positive or negative impact or effect on the country. So it cannot be done behind closed doors. So what the government is doing, I believe, they are doing this so that tomorrow the legislature, through our legal system, we are able to question, or the legislature is able to question that entire conversation between the government and this HPX. And then what we do legislatively, that agreement will absolutely not have any bearing on the country. So this is a smart game, and our partners who intended to invest in this country have to be smart. Because what is the government hiding? That it is not coming clean to Liberians to tell us that this is what is that is supposed to be done. This is what is supposed to be done. Up to now, we only heard about, like I said, we heard about this contract, this agreement on an international news outlet from the US. And the next thing was when the US embassy posted commending the government. Why has the government not come up clean to tell Liberians that this is what it is? Give us a breakdown of what Liberians tend to benefit, if indeed that is something that is in the interest of our country. What is the government hiding? That such agreement, lucrative as we will call it, has been signed, but the government is ashamed and embarrassed to announce it. There is something absolutely not right somewhere. And
there is something not right, and that's what we all will have to find out. We all will have to push our government to come clean. But let's move to our next line of discussion this morning. Like we told you, there are two things we're going to look at, and the second conversation is going to focus on the protests that's been planned, because Liberian lives matter, Liberian safety, Liberian protection, and like we've always said, the safety and protection is the constitutional obligation of the Liberian National Police to ensure that each Liberian citizen, are protected. That's what they pay for. They are all of us watchmen. They're not only watchmen for those in government, right? Unfortunately, that's how Gregory Cuomo has made it seem, because he has almost assigned armed police officers to each of the government officials, their homes, and with them in their cars, they're passing around. Right? State security is being reduced to bodyguard for officials in government. If they so needed, why can they hire private security? And why are you allowing our state security officers to be dishonored and disrespected as some kind of a security man, bodyguard, and someone there opening gate for people, someone there opening gate for government officials? I don't know whether the president knows about this, but this is how Gregory has reduced the police. This is a partisan arrangement, and this is terrible. Well, let's listen to him, right, and make sense of it and open the phone lines while we await our man.
Weapons that wound and planning to bring it to the project. Peace.
Okay.
So those are you who apply your illegal weapons at home and planning to bring it to the project. Peace.
So this is just a portion of it. For the Inspector General of the Liberia National Police to be aware that there are illegal weapons, right? And people having illegal weapons home. And he has designed no strategy. He has held no conversations on going after, because nobody is supposed to be having illegal weapons. Mm-hmm. It threatening the safety of our communities. It threatening the safety, of our people.
Sure.
And for the man who's being paid handsomely too, right, and taken care of by the country, to sit in these offices and waste his time, use his time to do TikTok videos and all of that, why the general safety of our communities and our people hangs in the balance, and he comes on live television to admit that these are there, but uses it as a means to what? To fighting citizens for standing up, right? To fighting them, right? Intimidate them, scare them from standing up. And you know why? People are not standing up because they want guns to be fired, right? People are basically standing up because, Mr. Inspector General, your government, right, through you, have enforced draconian laws that limits, Liberians from what? From earning a daily bread, right? You've removed our people from the streets. Some of those people who are selling the street are not selling that because of pleasure. They're selling because there is no job in the country. There is no means. Even the sons, their late children that are working places that were helping them, providing back arrest, you've dismissed all of them. Times are hard, right? But you care less. Your policies and program has ignored the feelings of the ordinary people. So the boss said, no, we have to send a message. We have to communicate with our government that these policies, the trickle down is detrimental to our lives. Our survival and safety are threatened. So we need to assemble and inform the government so that something will be done. And you seize the moment to threaten them and talk about bringing gun. Bringing gun for your own people, right? Liberia National Police, what has come over Gregory Como? What has really come over Gregory Como? Bringing gun for your own people.
Property in this country and the dignity of the person. As we draw closer to July 17th protest date.
He's basically veering off these responsibilities and duties of providing protection and safety for life and properties in this country. Rather, he's establishing the force as a combat mission against, the very same people that he's supposed to be protecting. And this is
today makes it 10 days from that day. We have asked planners to engage with the Ministry of Justice to get a permit and inform law enforcement as to what they intend to take so that we can provide the adequate protection. Up to today, we haven't seen any such engagement. However,
and my information available to me is that is a blatant lie. He wants to dictate how the organizers go about the protest. And nobody's going to accept that bull crap from Gregory Como. Absolutely, nobody's going to accept that from him, right? So basically, what Gregory seeks to do is to detect the movement of the protests and the protesters and what they do. And the organizers are insisting that no, to hell, you can't be the one to tell us you're not part of our protest. You can't come to micromanage. This is not at your whims. That you have to come micromanage us, right? Basically, what we have to do in keeping with safety requirement is to notify, put the government on notice that we are having this protest. With all of the media conversation, these are sufficient notifications, but however, right, we have also written a communication, right? The organizers, according to what we have written the Ministry of Justice, informing them and breaking down their activities. But Gregory wants the people to come tell him, oh, Gregory Como, saying you the IG, let's take up in it. So we'll be using Jalatan, we'll move from Jalatan, we'll come to point 4, we'll move on point 4, we'll go 2 ball. These are what is that nonsense for?
People have said it's a nationwide protest, and by that statement, what I think the Inspector General should be informed and aware of is that it will cut across every part of the country.
Every part of the country.
A nationwide protest. They will not tell you, say we'll be gathering at ELW Junction or maybe at Freeport and coming towards the Capitol building. No, they will not, because while they are doing it, the protest is going to be simultaneously held. So people could be gathering in Ganta, in Saninkole, in Sekepie, in Pibo, in or Kawekin, all those places. You will not have control of that. That's why they said it is a nation. You could have control based on your mental health, but do your deployment. You will not. They would not be able to tell you that we're taking nationwide protest. Nationwide protest is something people are even planning outside of the country, outside of Montserrat. People are planning there. So what happened?
You going to you see people.
Just be aware and inform your men that anywhere you see people gathering, go and provide them security. That is on period. But they say, the Montague, no. This is not the Liberian National Police Headquarters that you say when you assign people to how they call it 15 gate. You must be aware of it. No, it's a nationwide stuff that the people have said.
How much more notification you need? The people don't work for you.
Process that will provide the adequate protection necessary, and we'll do whatever we can to ease the burden of those who will not be a part of the protest, and we'll have to get to town. So as soon as we understand how and where they intend to gather, we'll continue to communicate with the public. We're asking everybody to keep tuned to our social media pages, to other radios and stuff, and we will be able to communicate adequately. But I would like to encourage each and everyone to go about their normal basis. Protest in this country has become a routine issue. So it's not something that say, we're going to ask you to stay home and stuff like that. School remains open. Children can move back and.
So I would want to advise people, right, to take counsel from them for themselves and not follow what the RG is saying. Make sure on that day, if your child need to go to school, let them stay home. For the safety of your children, keep your children home. And Hagar?
Yeah, July 17th. I'm sure school will be.
Gregor Como does not have the capacity. He's showboating, right? For whatever the case, there will be disruptions. There will be disruption in movement because as the protest is being, as people are promoting or speaking about the protest, if the turnout happens like that, that is not a moment to fund students and mix up. That how children can get missing.
And in fact, even the drivers themselves will be afraid to move into crowded out places because they don't want to get stuck up into traffic. So you now have drivers moving to places where people will be gathered in huge number and all of that. So transportation could be scarce. And the movement of people will be something very high, especially protesters and all of that.
You don't want to put a child into all of that. Yeah. You keep the children home for that one day, and after that day, once the protester, go ahead, they submit whatever they wish to submit to their government, we go back to normal, and then everybody start to do their normal business. No matter what it is, Liberia is a small country. Liberia is unlike places like Nigeria, Kenya, and other places where when you're having protests on this side, the other side is functional, everything going on normal. Nobody know what's going on. Let you listen to radio or you follow social media, no. When one thing happens on Broad Street, it affects every part of the country.
Mm-hmm.
This is how small we are, right? So to have the police RG give these false assurances,
and everyone can continue their normal business. Like I said, there could be some disruption in the traffic, but we try to minimize the inconveniences through whatever means possible. To the planners, we are your police. Those who intend to exercise those rights constitutionally, it is your right under the virtue of the Constitution, and it is my hope that those rights remain within the confines of the law. We will be there to protect, we'll be there to guide, and we'll be there to maintain law and order in the event where it goes violent, we will restore order immediately within the confines of the law. I want to admonish the general public that the Liberia National Police is a guardian, not a warrior, and we will do everything within our power to protect the Liberian people. Those who are planning the protest, it is my hope that you have spoken to those who are going to be involved and ask them to remain peaceful and do not vandalize people's property, because anything that goes wrong, you, the planners, will be held responsible. I just hope you understand the responsibility that comes along with it, and make sure that you're able to guide the process properly. Last but not least, there will always be people who have got nefarious intent, even in the best of plannings. So to those of you who have got your illegal weapons at home and planning to bring it to the protest, please leave it alone. Please. Don't bring it. Thank you.
There's a point where the police people did not call that one from there. Because yesterday I listened, there's a point where he said, if you bring your weapon, we'll bring our guns. Right? But the idea for the Inspector General to know that there are people with guns and he's not pursuing it and stuff. So this is scary. Where have they put gun in the public already? And to use that as a justification to bring gun out? Because technically that's what we are gathering from other places. The RG comes and say and put you on notice that there are people who gone out there. So anything is possible. They've gone to some people, say, gentlemen, when these people protest gaining traction, you let somebody who say somebody get going and we get. I mean, somebody have to call the Inspector General to be very careful. This country has come a long way. This country has come a long way, and we must protect democratic tenets and respect people's right to disagree and to speak to their government. These kinds of 1980s strategies, SOD tactics, we must not employ them. To give gun to people and plan them, is bad. And the organizers will have to take cue. Because the RG is acknowledging the presence of illegal weapons, right, in the possession of people out there. All this time, what effort has he made to retrieve them? Mm-hmm. And there is the protest, and then you're making these comments. And, assumption would be that the police that have gone could give it to, because they know the bandits. They know them. Give it to them, and when the protest is gaining tractions and it's probably getting overwhelming for the police, then one of their planted agents will just either display the gun and they use that as a basis to open fire on our people.
And in fact, the IG is supposed to tell Liberians what informed that decision, what informed that statement, what informed his thought that there are people who are planning to bring guns within the gathering. So it is important. I'm sure by now you've gotten all of the necessary intelligence. That's why you are speaking the way you are speaking. So by now, those individuals whom you think are in possession or are planning to bring illegal weapons amongst Liberians, those individuals should be now called for questioning and bring them to book. But you cannot sit and speak loosely and think that that's how you run professional institution like the Liberia National Police. It's terrible. A police inspector general speaking in such from a minor, it proves how unprofessional and irresponsible he is, because you cannot be talking about people bringing illegal weapons amongst Liberians where they've decided to exercise their constitutional rights. And that is something that is guaranteed under the Constitution. For what reason you think these people, or there are people planning to bring illegal weapons? For what reason you think so? They said that they themselves have gotten information that the police is also planning to do something illegal. That's why they are planning on such thing. The police should be able. This is not just be, or this should not just be a statement where you get made a blanket statement with no in-depth or detail of that. That statement should be explained to Liberians in a better form, so they themselves understand. Because there are older folks, younger or individuals who are planning to go for that protest. Their minds is only exercising their constitutional rights and responsibility. Their minds is only exercising the rights given to them by the constitution of our country to call the government's attention. So if there are people who are planning to obstruct such or to divert such peaceful assembly into something chaotic, the police should be calling these people to book. You can just sit and say, oh, you get your gun, keep your guns home. They said that the June 7 protests are here in the country, you carry a gun. The June 7 protests are here carry. Why you had the opportunity to say you wanted to cook before the executive march and of course the Capitol building. Was that gone? Why you sit and speak loosely as a professional person who's supposed to be? You say these kind of things. You still fierce in Liberians. There are people who are still trying to cope with the negative effect that the war brought to them. When you bring up these kind of things, you still fear in them. Imagine along the peaceful protest. You come and have people buying gas around here. You come and have people buying food around here. You come and have people packing their vehicles and their motorbikes and things on that day because the police inspector general have said there are people playing to carry gun among those individuals and they don't know how it will turn out. No, man, crazy, man. You should be far better off than this. That's correct. You should be more professional. So, but he is not saying anything to Joshua Milton Blai, who has threatened, right? That he will counter the protest. He did not say anything about Joshua Milton Blai. Because this is where, confrontation will come from. Joshua, if you want protest, or you want march to support the government or whatever, you plan your own on your separate date. And the police inspector general should be sending out this caveat. Mm-hmm. You're not warning you all are okay. Human Heart Eater Milton Blai is announcing every other day that he will go after people and he fight trying to obstruct the movement of a certain lawmaker. You don't see that as violation of somebody's rights. But you sit and talk loosely, then you say police inspector. Correct. Let's take calls because our guest is already here, and shortly we will take him. 0776 104 104 086 500 104 plus 221 86 500 104 are the numbers to call, and of course you will be live on Freedom Morning Rise on Freedom 87.9. This morning, let's take calls. Beginning with you here. Hello. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Oh, that. Okay. 0776 104 104 86 500 104 star 255 star 11 hash. Sorry, star 255 star 1 hash. Star 255 star 1 hash is the code as well. Morning. We receive money here this morning. Good morning. Walk away from the radio. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
That is it's not protected because these are protests. All the thinking that won't happen. So now they come to the point where state government that is start to stay. Because this year, without exploring nothing, if the woman has explored any other thing, woman needs to do. So anything to come with, we have to do for it. Thank you.
All right, so libraries are resolved. So all you can do all you can to provide. Good morning, let's hear you. Mm-hmm.
I want to talk to
Go ahead. Mm-hmm. So the American
decided to put president on record. Say you won't hide anything, so when you come, you deny it. So for all, we'll get to our media people and we'll share it on the embassy page. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. Let's hear you.
Okay. Good morning, guys. My name is George Junon. I call you from Watertown this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my brother. The people, no matter what we say or what we do, we are reserved and prepared for the 17th. So let them do their work.
But the police is similar threatening guns. So doesn't that bring some fear to you?
What is that you was going? What go on to do our protest? My brother, man, that was only cover that started to go that time. So we prepare for that. And God will be with us. Prepare for everything with that for our right in this country. And for the right thing to be done, very happy. And we're waiting. We are prepared. We're waiting for the 17th. For me, I wish the 17th can be today or tomorrow.
Okay, don't worry. It will be here soon. Until 9 more days from today. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Abu, and good morning, Higa.
Morning.
Yeah, Abu, my name is Musa G. Brown, and I phone in from New Jersey.
Musa, it's very warm, my man.
Yeah. Abu, you know when the government took over and they appointed Gregory Coleman as police director, I said on Freedom FM once that these guys were the killing machines that the opposition were using to kill people, to create mayhem. And today, Liberians are looking at it glaring. You see, Gregory is so confused. The reason why he's saying this crap and they are playing in them is to plan people with arms, so that they will say, oh no, the protest I have. Because they are saying the kind of way that the protest is gaining momentum. And the planning process is going so unique. It's not that noisy.
No, it's not.
So, so because of that, they are confused. So he's trying to say something to let the public know that people will come there with arms. How Gregory got to know that people will come to the protest with arms? How he got to know? Is that another thing? How he got to know when he heard Bonike saying, I will go to the protest and my men will throw rock at the protester and the police will go out the crowd and will be looting. But he can't say nothing about that. Look,
it is Bonike that's making all these threatening comments and things and all of that, but they are not attacking Bonike.
Yeah, right. Because, look, when Joseph Boakai took over as president, who the wife, Katubu Boakai, who was the first place, where was the first place he visited? To Boakai, donated money and rice. And call him my son. She said, this is my son. I always love you. A man who came, who created mayhem, demonstrated, and said it on live videos. But these are the people. So our government is not identified with anybody maturely, but they identify with people that are creating mayhem. Look at all of those that Joseph Boakai is giving position to. Anybody that say I will do bad for Joseph Boakai, I will give him up, he give you job. For Joseph Boakai, I will cost, he give you job. Look at the kind of pickup board making using. Look at the cars he's using.
Yeah,
so you bring new pickers.
Taxpayer money.
Bring new pickers.
Money.
It's taxpayer money.
But thank you, brother. Thank you, Musa. Let me squeeze 3-4 more calls, right? Because we have 3 minutes to go. Good morning.
You have this call. We are ready for our name. Call Bonike. You know me. He persists and he said, go part 2. We'll come. So nobody before God. Nobody can be off here. So we're coming. Thank you.
Let's talk
to Masisi from this end. Masisi, good morning.
So Masisi,
can call back right here. We want to do a draw before we go to guests. Yes.
Good morning.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, good morning, my son.
Masisi, morning from here. Good morning.
Man, that's Masisi. We already have.
Yes.
So Masisi, where you got your doctor degree from?
Oh, I did my Kobo, man. I'm the best cook for African food. So I'm a doctor.
Doctor for cooking.
Yes.
Go ahead.
African food is one of the best food you have come Masisi to prepare for you.
Okay. Go ahead, Masisi.
So you said what you doctor, they saw calling and here I can't get to cook. They will show me the law. They tell my call my doctor in the court. They will show me it.
So.
And the law will tell me my son.
But the president told Sonny, the president told Sonny, you want anybody be calling yourself doctor, so he say he have commission men. So the president comment that law, that policy, you got to respect it.
Oh, okay. We can't go for that. So what I call for is Nigerians, they're regretting the action today that they took in 2023. That's what I'm saying. They're regretting the action. Everywhere you pass, Abu. Nobody say I'm sorry. If you tell a boss to say I'm up, boy, they say, hey, Waka, you wicked. Now, Waka for you. Now regretting. Today, Nigerians are feeling a peace and the moment to say my Waka government leadership today. We are pride not in this one the thing free. Then you go one boy, naked, 30 boy, you go start up to the and you see the RG sitting there. Telling you, no, you can't do that. You tell me the people to say a word, but you tell him you can't up protest. You will throw some of the people. Somebody will say, oh, I want to go protest yesterday. They didn't want it. One of the people want to release it out there. You hearing it? They're going to listen to them. I'm going to say, oh, he's not talking, he's not doing this. They're going to put it power to they want to say, what I want to do there. He was dead and now you know everything. They gave me a job to vote to this. What happened in our country? We are crying. No one for me. My thing. You want to get one, they get paper to cut the phone. You see, you're taking you lie. Why you taking online, you get your point, get you into anybody. We'll go out there to tell you, because what you're doing, you need to stop it. It's not enough. We tired of the nonsense. We tired. You're on the phone. You're that get up. We'll start our rest back. That's our thing. We're coming out. You get the forget with the anybody. If it was for you alone, if for everyone up below here. Just give me that. Now, good people will say, oh, you will show more people they get to take you in this country. We say, no, thank you.
Okay. All right, man.
Thank you, Dr. Masisi.
So, Abu, let's see whether we can give money here, like we said, for just 50 like
exactly. So while he carry out the jaws, we're getting very strong report that there are desire on the part of the executive to take dismissal action on the disaster management agency head.
Okay.
And this is an alliance government of different political parties and different agencies where something. So in which way, what is the conversation with ACOP in these processes? We are hearing very little from them. What do they intend to do? When is that a slot reserved for them? But that's conversation, something we can talk about another time.
Okay, so *255 *1# for just $50 Liberian dollars, you stand a chance to win $4,000 Liberian dollars or more than that, but it depends on how many times you play. But the least money to be won here this morning is $4,000 Liberian dollars. So all you have to do for just $50 Liberian dollars, you dial *255 *1# using your Lone Star Cell MTN mobile money, *255 *1#. And then you be ice the currency you want to play from, either 25 cents USD or $50 LD, and then you enter your PIN, and then you're good. You stand a chance to receive 4,000 here. We just need a few more persons, then we do our next draw here this morning.
Okay, so let's take this break as we usher our guests this morning. This is the Freedom Morning Rise on Freedom 87.9. We are coming to talk Pan-Africanism, and of course, all you need to know about the African struggle vis-a-vis the PLO Lumumba in Liberia. This break, and after which Arthur Wawili will be our guest.
There are crimes in many places, in every community, you know, you can see. So if you see crime reported, don't tell her in your hand for your authority. That it can't take your love in. Crime stop right here for us. We need shelter to your door. Whether you rich or you poor. If you see a you not talk enemy, you check. You wait for your safety. If you see a don't keep it. You know part of the the people bringing safety to your door. Stop it crime and make it peace for them before. Liberia, from the center to interior. Keeping us safe, let's stop it crime for all of us. The people bringing safety to your door. Stop it crime and make it peace for them before. Liberia, from the center to interior. Keeping us safe, let's stop it crime for all of us.
Crime Stopper Liberia is your community crime fighting partner. Don't take the law into your own hands. Remember, if you see a crime, report it. This is a message from your own self, old man Sam Sion.
Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stop it crime and make it peace for them before. Crime Stopper Liberia, from the center to interior. Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, let's stop it crime for all of us. Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stop it crime and make it peace for them before. Crime Stopper Liberia, from the center to interior. Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, let's stop it crime for all of us.
Crime Stopper Liberia, of course, is the official sponsor and, of course, partner with the Freedom Money Rise and Freedom 87.9. Folks, thanks a lot for rejoining as we embark on the final lap of the conversation here on the nation's premier breakfast platform. And we're very pleased to have with us Brother Ato Waweli, a very profound intellectual who's been passionate about these African struggle conversations about Pan-Africanism. So we thought to gauge his views and pick his mind on these subjects and how well they do resonate with the Liberian audience. Ato, good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks to...
I'm going to put the mark to you there.
And okay. Thanks to the Freedom family for giving us the opportunity to come and just let the public know what we stand for in this country. Because there was a time, there was a whole new generation in the 1960s, 50s, 60s, and 70s called the progressive. And here we are. We are still in the footsteps of that. Sometimes we call it neo-progressive, but still with no.
Well, do you subscribe to the progressives ideology and everything?
Yes, to an extent we subscribe to the progressive ideology. But one thing that happened was that the progressive ideology was thwarted by the actions in the latter days, especially the older age, or got to the older ages. So we remember the labor of their past.
But their own action.
Yeah, their present, the labor of their past we respect, but not the labor of their present. So that's there where we have some problems.
But there's no question around the dignity of the past labor. I mean, the purpose of the struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, people struggle to understand the genuine. A lot of folks have said, basically, it's a group of people who felt they were repped and ready to serve the country, and the way to get that is to rally the people into action, for their personal aggrandizement, political inclusion. It was not basically for the general emancipation of the country. Do you agree with that?
I think there where we saw some of them lacking, and that's the reason why we say we remember the labor of our heroes past, but not the labor of the present. And that is the problem some of us have with some progressive leaders.
You can tell some of them that fall in that category.
Notably,
what was your view on that H. Bowman family?
Yeah, notably, that family was one person that really, and up to today, he inspires a lot of young people in this country up to now. But we saw his view for the last past government and the Malanseli government, where he said, serving even as security advisor and what happened.
That was a contradiction.
Yeah, what happened to Shaki Kamara and the role you played. The role you played at that time, I think it led to a lot of confusion in the minds of young progressive. He was to resign because I think he did not advise security properly to go to West Point, and especially the kind of slum community. So and for that, his stand on the last government and he stands today. We don't really see him questioning a lot of the things that are happening. As a Pan-Africanist, you must always be questioning. And I think there were, even if it is a government, you must be questioning. But he's not questioning his government, which he supported to come to power.
Have you seek to understand why, in the case of the Shaki Kamara thing and the security advice and all that, have you seek to understand why he took those decisions?
I think in our mind, he was not in control he was just security advisor, but he was not in control. You had a whole.
But did he advise contrary?
Yes, because some advisors can really be genuinely advised, and they have the ear of the president.
No, so, have you ascertained with him to know whether he advised contrary? Because other than that, one would say it was his advice, because this is security matter. This is I mean, engagement, matter. So these national security conversations will be held. You there on the table, and such a thing came out. Of course, you take responsibility. But when and where you advise on the contrary, but superior authority decided to go the way they went, at least the records will have that.
We have not heard him publicly speaking on that. I have not. And I think that's the reason why we believe that people like the progress, not only him, a lot of other people, they took Pan-Africanism and their role to play in the country, and the role to play in the last government and the role to play now. All of them a little bit passive. It's not when it's in their favor, but when it's not in their favor, you see them very active and coming up with some policy statement. Yeah, our father leader, Pan-Africanism, he has not really been too strong, but we expected all of them, regardless of the position they took yesterday, they must be able to stand for that. And I think that's where we have a problem with the progressive movement, and that's the reason why you don't see the progressive struggle visible in the Pan-African community now.
Okay, we'll talk more about that subsequently, but let's set the basis to begin with this whole idea and concept of Pan-Africanism for the young folks out there. What does the movement entails, and what does it look like?
The concept of Pan-Africanism is a concept that came to the limelight in the early 1900s, and you would talk about Henry Sylvester Williams, you would talk about W.E. Du Bois. Later on, you talk about Marcus Garvey, his struggle with the UNIA, and that of Kwame Nkrumah, Patrick Emperor Lumumba. All these Pan-Africanists, they have a belief that without unity, we're going nowhere as people. So that solidarity movement to pull all Africans, regardless of where you are, in the diaspora or not, in the borderland or not, to pull all Africans together so that we can collectively work to change some of the narratives in our country. I think because all countries are not uniform. So when the forces are working in one country, they solve a particular issue in another country to solve another. But we must all work to solve our problems globally. And I think that was the belief of Pan-Africanism. And when we are together, then we now start to fight the neo-colonialist idea, the pretender, and then you start to see a lot of other things falling in line. But without unity, we'll always be infiltrated by the neo-colonialist elements.
What is the definition of that unity, right? Isn't it uniting in solidarity to oppose colonial rules or encroachment, or a kind of a unified agenda that speaks to one voice, one identity? What was actually in the concept of Pan-Africanism, what was the unity defined as? Working as one government, one people, or establishing a kind of defense against European dominance on the continent, or all that? And did we, the people of Africa, through those great leaders, can we say they achieved or they made any progress?
Yes, they did, but there were a lot of infiltration, and we know the reason why those things led to where we are today. I think, like you said, if you hear about Kwame Nkrumah today in the Pan-African struggle, every Pan-Africanist will talk about Kwame Nkrumah because he was one person, regardless of the foundation, like the Marcus Garvey and other people in the past. But Kwame Nkrumah was talking about the unity of Africa, having the United States of Africa, where
but people, because this is it, right? The reason I asked about the unity thing, because people were preaching unity, Pan-Africanism, and all of that, but at the same time, countries were gaining territorial independence. They were pursuing, self-independence. So it was a little contradictory to me. Around the same time that we're talking about having one system, people are having splinter, and there were new borders being created, and all of these were happening. So how do we reconcile that?
Yes, you couldn't do anything about that because the whole movement, like I said, was infiltrated and was divided. All right, and because of that division, you can see that Tocqueville on one side, which were a little bit liberal, and the interests of the United States of America, saying that it must be gradual. Kwame Nkrumah on the other side, with some of the leaders, they were pushing high that it must be now or never. But in the end, the same thing about the Western imperialist elements we're talking about at that time, they too were playing the cards well, and working with Tocqueville and working with other African leaders to infiltrate the entire thing. And they did not hold. And you saw after that, a lot of other things started happening in Egypt, coup in other countries, on the mining, the division. Like you said, even if countries were organizing, they were organizing so that if there is a unity, they themselves can have a part in that unity. They can have a decision in that unity because they have their own territory and they will be coming in decision making.
Okay.
But they were not just fighting to be united because they just want a country, but a lot of people were thinking that the idea of Africa coming together, we must be able to ensure that there will be bullet free. I mean, a passport, we could go any part of Africa anytime. We'll have one army, we will have one currency, a visa, everything about the past, everything will be one, and we can be able to move like what happened in Europe and America today. But that what it was on the mind. And we believe that what is happening
on the mind about
when we talk about the neo-colonialist elements, we're talking about basically the United States, head about the United States, all right? So you're talking about France.
Neo-colonial, what do you mean by that?
The colonialist element were cool. They, they did it openly, slavery. They did everything to bring Africans down.
Okay.
But after the abolishment of slavery, then they gave a new form
of colonialism,
which was hidden, like in our educational system. People don't see the idea of colonialism in our educational system. All right, Africa must have our own curriculum.
How do you want to identify the presence of colonialism in our in academia, for example, in our sciences, agriculture, governance, and all?
The neo-colonialist elements, they have one concept, and if you understand that concept, you will just understand them, and that is, and they said, disobey the 10th commandment, but obey the 11th. And that 11th commandment they created is thou shalt not be caught. So
that should not be caught.
Yeah, that should not be caught. So
caught as in being
apprehended. Yes. Nobody must know that you are doing something.
I mean, secrecy.
Yes, you must just obey the 10th commandment. You must honor mine. And that's the reason why spies agencies come into being, like the United States with the CIA, and like Great Britain with the MI6, with the Israeli Mosaic. All these spies agencies, they operate in the country and make sure that they will not be caught. Because if they are not caught, you will not know their agenda. So to say this is how you identify them, it is very difficult. They don't allow themselves to be caught.
Neocolonialism and capitalism.
Yes, they are. Neocolonialism is just capitalism is just another form of that. It's just another form of that because capitalism is all about self, your individualistic mentality of you going forward in life without any limitation. Even if you are going forward and everybody is going, it's not going nowhere. You care less about it. You may care about yourself. Capitalism is.
But Pan-Africanism espouses the same doctrine.
No, Pan-Africanism.
Let's be African. Let's care about us.
No,
let's focus on us.
I talk about individualistic.
Okay.
Capitalism is driven by individualistic, but Pan-Africanism, or what you call the Ubuntu, is for the Zulu language. But if you look, Ubuntu means you are because I am, and I am because you are. You cannot be if I am not. So you see that Pan-Africanism is still around that. If you see your fellow man, for example, some of the policies in our country, you have to put yourself in the shoe of those that policy will be affecting. And if you realize that if you were the one you feel hurt, you find solution in a form that though you want to solve this problem, but you must also take into consideration your brothers and sisters that are struggling every day. You must be able to take into consideration that. That's the true nature of Pan-Africanism.
The layman out there, the ordinary marketers across the continent are clinging to liberal democratic tendencies, and you heard them cry all of the time. We want democracy, we want our rights, we want this. That is the concept that they have bought into, and they believe represent their share interests adequately. And so where does the Pan-African consciousness come into play vis-a-vis the presence of liberal democracy on the continent? Do we really need any Pan-Africanism that defines differently from what the people are enjoying living and appreciating?
I would call liberal democracy. For me, I don't really. Yes, we just have to accept the term democracy. But I think we must find our own form of government. And if we will call it Afrocracy or whatsoever we want to find, but we must find our own form of government.
And we will have to abolish democracy.
Yeah, democracy.
And we will give our rights.
Democracy is a complete hypocrisy.
How is it a hypocrisy? Guarantee rights for everybody.
What you call
the rights of the child, the right of the women's right, and all of those equal participation, equity is being talked about, heralded very severely, and all of that. You think we should give that out?
For me,
for what?
For me, I'm alive. There are some rights, especially I will not give all my rights, especially the right to live.
Aside from the emotion, we have to be academic about this.
But let's see. You want to compare your democracy with that of the Chinese democracy. The Chinese have the democracy.
The Chinese have democracy.
Yes, I went to China. I went to China. The Chinese
mimic after the Western democracy.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to make it believe that.
What, have they substituted communism in China with democracy?
They are telling you that the Chinese have their democracy.
Okay, tell us, how does it look like?
The Chinese democracy is not like the liberal democracy where we have here. It is still in such a way that when you are going for election, for example, you have the community election. They were at that level. In China, they have the election there where they select, the community leadership. And those that will be elected will now go to the next level to select the borough leadership. So all the other people in the community will be left there because they trust those people to go up. So as they go up, then the representative will come together and say, oh, we select the senator. From the senator, then all the senators will come together and say, let us work with the party level and say, like what happened?
But that is taking power from the people and putting power in the hands of a people.
No, the people already.
You're taking the power to determine who becomes senator of Nimba from the people and putting a few community or leadership.
No.
Who decision may be influenced by their shared interests and values.
That's the reason why in China, when they practice a democracy, They trust you for the community before they send you to borrow. Because they know that as a leader from the community, you're going to defend their interests at the borough. And all the borough leaders now, I can give you an example now. All the borough leaders that will be coming together to now go to elect the representative, they will know the interest, but they'll be consulting.
Does that idea look attractive?
Very attractive. And
I do not see how attractive it is.
They have the opportunity to go to China and see the way the Chinese are working for their people. But what we have here, people who have money, they infiltrate everything and make sure that they can be able to buy votes. They can be able to make sure and steal vote and rig election. Like you see here, people can tell you 2029 we're rigging.
No, but democracy doesn't say you should buy vote. Nobody says vote in democracy.
But our democracy allow that, but in Chinese democracy,
then that's a misgiving of your democracy. You should work on that.
How will you work
your
on
government
it?
should work and fix that.
How will you work on it? Even in the United States of America, they can talk about what happened there.
And people don't say for voting democracy.
No, I'm not talking about, but they talk about people hacking. Yeah, there are people hacking their electoral.
Of course, those things can happen. Even in China, you know.
No, the Chinese democracy is not about.
Do people vote in China? In fact,
people vote at the community level.
What kind of vote is that?
Well, let me tell you something. What is the difference with a community leader that you people trust going to vote for a borough leader, and the borough leader voting for the district leader, and the district leader voting for the senator, and the senator voting for the president?
How sure are you that senator who's voting for the president, right, will consider my interest in the borough?
Because they don't make you community leader without they trusted you. That's the foundation. So when you go up there and they notice that you are not defending, when you come back the next time you take for them, people, and that's the reason why you see the Chinese democracy, before they can be able to elect, before the Communist Party of China can elect the leader, all the nations, they don't know. They go into the hall, but they will know there will be 10 persons coming out.
So you want me to Chinese democracy? You're not taking communism with Chinese democracy. But let's go.
Communism, you talk about communism, but China has a capitalist system today. A lot of Chinese are wealthy. Again, it has been mixed. So when you hear, you hear other Chinese leaders talking about the Chinese democracy, they are telling you that is the only stable democracy. That doesn't have any form of corruption in it. Because if you trust the man from the beginning, the community level, you will know that man will defend the interest. When the man goes there, he does not defend the interest for that. When you come back for the next election, you don't carry you there. And the people who will be there to vote for the other people for the next time they will also change the
Is that what Pan-Africanism seeks to bring to the country?
No, our crisis or Afro crisis, if you talk about that, if Africans want to establish a kind of government, the government must be by the choice and the will of the people. It should not just be about the law.
How's that different from democracy?
What is happening in Rwanda? Paul Kagame is not governing Rwanda on laws. He himself can say it. If the Rwandan choose today,
that's dictatorship.
No, if you can call it dictatorship, but it's
because we have to be careful so that we don't confuse the audience. That
no,
dictatorship will, because if you're not governing by law, then what are you governing by?
You governing by the will of the people, the choices of the people.
As determined by what?
By the people.
How?
For example, if we decide that nobody will sell in the street,
okay,
it's a law according to the city ordinance. But the people in majority come together today. They say, "Look, we know this is the law, but because of the situation in our country, we do not have investors, we do not have this, we do not have that. We want you, Mr. President, to do this for us." Paul Kagame will go to the extent he will do it, but then the law is there, but he's doing it by the choice and the will of the people.
So that is because Paul, maybe in your own thinking, is a listening president. But in our setting where we are, even in a situation where when Liberians decide to engage the government through assembly and all of that, it is termed as political. People will feel like you are against the interests of the government because you may be from a political party. And how the system in China that you are advocating for? How is it different from what African, especially our country, is?
I'm not advocating for it, but I just trying to compare the two and telling you that the Chinese democracy is.
But you give preference.
Yeah, I give preference to the Chinese democracy because I know it is impossible for you to have the Chinese democracy in Liberia, and then you don't have the locals, because look, in the Chinese democracy they do not focus on the big capitalist mentality, the big businesses. No, the Chinese democracy focus on what you call the local production.
But that is a mindset.
Yes, but that's it, because they believe that if you develop the local economy, if you go to Bong County, you want to ask what the people are producing in Bong County, in Nema County, in Lofa County, you will know exactly what they are producing. Then you start to develop the local economy, starting manufacturing and all kinds of different things at that lower level. Then you know that you're raising the people up so that they can support the bigger economy. But ours, you focus on the big banks, and they will just give money to people who bring in rights to the country. They care less about people who are trying to develop the local economy, because they are not giving them loans to buy machines, to develop technology, nothing they're giving them. So you don't develop the local economy. In our democracy, it's about one tying the bootstrap. So if you don't have a hand, you don't tie a bootstrap in our democracy. And that's the reason why we are suffering. In China, no. It is not like that.
Who ties the bootstrap?
The government, the people. That's the reason why it's not a communist system. It is communal. It is for all of us. They have 5 years plans, 10 years plan. When they go there, they say this place will be this way. In the next 5 years, that's how they will do it, because they know fully well that the people in that particular area must move forward. How will you have a country like this? Then you do not have just fishing alone. Do you know if high school students?
So we work and the bourgeoisies collect the proceeds. And
No, it's not. It is not like that. Yes, always there will be leaders. Even there will be leaders. If there are no leaders, then there will be no follower. Everybody will be the same.
So we must have our destinies in our own hands. But you're saying we should surrender our destinies to the leaders, the bourgeois.
But look at the representative system we have here. You surrender everything to them. Look at what happened in the world. You think you yourself, if you have authority to do, all the people that sit in the house will be there. If the system that is
no. Excuse me, you're talking about quality. Yeah, we have a problem. We do not have the quality in our house. Depending on
the means, but we should change it.
But the system is there. Maybe we have vulnerability, we have some issues, the quality. I think the problem with our system is from the grassroots, the decision making, right? If our people are not empowered to make independent decisions, to look beyond a very parochial, limited interest and consider the general, views, the way we vote will be quite different. But people are hungry, so they go to vote. You give them burger rights, so we understand that.
That's not a problem. Most of you, the journalists in this country, try to hide some of these things, because when you hide it, you believe that you don't want to make another person or this group of people best. But I don't care how you vote. The triangular flow of power in this country, the legislature, the judiciary, they are not part of that triangle.
Okay.
If you look at the triangular flow of power in this country, the triangle starts with the U.S. Embassy and the Masonic Temple on one side. There's two.
Come on, man. These are conspiracy theories.
They're not conspiracy. That's the reason why I'm saying. And you do it like that, but that's the reality. They join from there and point straight to the executive mansion. They tell the executive mansion what to do. You are just talking about HBS deal. You are talking about HBS deal. That HBS deal, honor mine, it shows you the power of the triangular flow of power. From the Masonic craft, where you get the business guys, to the U.S. Embassy, where you get the foreign government interest, and the two connects the triangle from there and point straight to the executive mansion, and they tell the mansion what to do. And I don't care what a legislator want to do, they want to sign whatsoever, they have no way to sign. Or the judiciary want to do whatever they want to do. That deal is just an example on a Sunday. It's just an example of what is happening. So I can tell you that our people can have the right frame of mind, but when the people who are supposed to solve the problem and they not triangular funds, not agree to solve the problem. And one thing we don't understand is that, I will end up with it, we Liberians, we have been attacked because we are the only Pan-African nation in the post-Saharan Africa that says only black men of Negro descent can be citizens of the country. Liberia, Haiti. And because of that, the white how you call them, the white extremists, they have a belief that Liberia should never develop until that law is changed. So they will do everything to honor my emphasis about democracy. They will do everything to infiltrate, even to the extent.
Why do you call them white extremists?
Because they believe that all people, the only way they can develop it when you allow them to be part of you. That's the only way the world will know that white people are the only people that can develop. Black people cannot develop. But
you still have extremism in your laws. You say the only way you can be citizen, you must be black. So that's extremism.
Yes, we are saying
so
that
you're equally an extremist.
Yes, we are good extremists.
What is good extremism?
We are good extremists. So what we want to do is that we want to tell the world that granted all other countries were developed by white men, but Liberia is the only country that we black people we will develop. And we show to the world.
So your own are good extremism.
It's good because we want to show an example.
The people prioritizing their pigmentation is bad extremism.
Yeah, why?
That's unfair. That doesn't mean unfair. You know.
So the fight is these are Liberians or Africans are serving those positions. Let's take for example, we're talking about our laws. These are people, the very same Liberians that should be standing up are the very same Liberians that are sent at the executive mansion, that are sent at the judiciary, the legislative branch. What is going to change, or what is not changing about them? Because you're talking about the mindset of Liberians in this case, but we get the very same Liberians who are legislators. But the very thing you're talking about, they are going against that.
Like I said, some of the guys know the truth. But you know when you say it, you know the visa issue now.
Yeah,
like I said, look, when you look at the house here, there is a concept called the fewer the merrier in this country.
Okay, what is that?
The fewer the merrier. It's a concept that started before, I don't want to call them Congo or miracle Liberians, you will call them, but they hadn't believed that do not allow plenty of people to enjoy in the country.
Okay.
Don't allow plenty of people to get rich. Don't allow plenty of people to get money. Because the more all get money, the more complex this society will be, the more people will not depend on us, and you'll start to see that the more power will shift and drift all the way.
It's not conspiracy theories, man.
It may be conspiracy because you believe it. I don't believe that it's a conspiracy theory.
But what are the facts?
It is real. Because if you see, for example,
you think there's a state effort to limit the creation of a middle class, for example?
There is a state effort, especially. I don't want to be political. Look at this current government here, my brother. All right, we're talking about Pan-Africanism. A Pan-African government. We started. You know that the government wants to go middle class by the way they handle business. Rather than giving loans, rather than giving support, rather than bringing policy that will still make people make money, you bring policy that will make people to sit home. So the fewer, the merrier. And the more the allowed people to be here, they'll get money to buy smash car, they'll be in the street selling, whatever people running around, they'll get money to be I'm sorry for the expression, but that's how they believe it. So take them from the street, get them in the community, let them be vulnerable, they'll come to us when they pay, but we don't give them money, they'll just be there struggling. And the middle class will not be developed like that.
Fair enough. Let's come back home. Earlier you spoke about infiltrators and people acting to stifle the possibility of a whole Pan-African achievements on the continent and all of that. So, and it is clear that most of our leaders are circumspect on issues like the RCC, that we've seen. I really like to gauge your Pan-African view on the RCC, as we've seen it. There's been a lot of African leaders, our own president, as much as ignoring our judicial system process, right? Was taken out of this place, taken to farming, women land, and he's been incarcerated there for many, many years, as much as we needed justice. But how is that justice from the African sense that women has to, execute justice for us? What does that say to our consciousness, right? That plus this whole thing about sanctions for African leaders that make decisions considering the aspirations of their people, but does not fall within the whims and caprice of the Western collaborators. How are these impeding the possibility and the concept of Pan-Africanism across the continent?
The same thing. We talk about the concept of African unity. If you look at the issue of the ICC, all right, the ICC is you say conspiracy theory, but it's a neo-colonialist tool, because the same thing majority of these African leaders are doing, Western leaders also did the same, or they are still doing the same.
Okay.
But the ICC, you will never see them going after some of the companies that are exploiting resources on the African continent. Some of the leaders that are conniving with those companies, you will never hear them trying to prosecute them for any kind of crime, economic crime for that matter. But they will come on the continent of Africa. Yes, it was wrong. All right. We know what happened to Laurent Kabila. What happened to Omar al-Bashir? What happened to Chancellor, like you said? All these leaders were prosecuted. They went to the ICC, and some of them, they said they were not wrong for the allegations. But like Chancellor, they said he was wrong. But what is the difference between what Chancellor did here than what the General Tommy Frank of the United States did in Iraq? In Bush. They made a whole world to believe that Saddam Hussein had a nuclear weapon.
Okay.
But after that, they went to destroy the people country. They did everything they could. But today, General Tommy Frank has never been punished. They killed Saddam Hussein. They made sure that they destroy everything. Look at Muhammad Gaddafi. When you destroy, and no American, you know that America does not subscribe to the ICC in terms of allowing their citizens to go to the ICC. Why would you have a court? They're almost like what you have to the United Nations. You have 5 permanent members. All the other people will go there. They have ceremonial roles to play, but you people have 5 people deciding the view of the whole world. What is the word democracy we're talking about now? What is the difference between the communist system or the communist democracy with that of the UN democracy? So when we see this hypocrisy, we will condemn our leaders who will commit crimes on the continent. They must be punished by our own laws, but setting a kind of a justice system so that it will always put fear in the people.
But China is on the Security Council.
Yeah, China is there. My idea is not just about China.
Mm-hmm.
My idea
I don't want to get that.
Yeah, my idea, I know China is there. Russia is there. I know, but my idea is the system is only set, the sanction. They will sanction African leaders for all kinds of things. But I mean, the time you have heard American companies come in, most of the companies in Liberia, is what a Turkey company here, with the other one an Indian company. They are all American companies. I can lie to you. No company in Liberia and America is not involved with, including this guy. America is involved. America is controlling all these companies and the resources and everything. And that's the reason why, at a certain point, what they do is what you call transfer pricing. That's the reason why Liberia will not benefit from any of our resources. Because the American company who is behind Metal Steel, for example, or the Bear Mountain, they will take all the resources from there and say, oh, we're selling it to one country in Europe for this small amount of money. Liberia government, I don't want to sell it, go for your go, selling it for this amount, maybe for this small amount. But with the money, before that, the resources, now you go into that company. The people will just be made between the company in Europe or Asia and that of the company here. But the real paper will be made between the American company that is getting the gold and diamond from Liberia and that of Metal Steel and other companies. There's no way that America will get any funny companies come here. And it's even the HPS something you're talking about. It's just an understanding about how they want to profit. But on the overall, I can tell you, my brother, all these things about sanctions, about war crime code, or all kind of international criminal code, it is all about making African leaders afraid that anything they tell our leaders, we must be forced to do it. If not, they will be able to put some of these things on their head. Look at what happened with the last government. All right? And it's 2 other people were sanctioned because of the CHPL team. Where it is today. Today, will America sanction HPS for signing this law without even passing through legislation?
People were being sanctioned for corruption.
Yeah, there are people
pay to play.
Yeah, because they say they say pay to play, all the kind of things. But now it is in the interest. Now, I'm not saying that they sanctioned them before, sanction people, but will they sanction people now? There where you see the hypocrisy. Because if there is
why do you believe that the sanctions are selective?
Very, very much selective. They do it in their own interests. If you play by their will, you will not be sanctioned. If you don't play by their will,
is it not geared towards protecting the resources of the country from being pillaged by unscrupulous public servants or public officials?
If the resources were to be taken, to be taken into consideration by non-Liberians development, because I can lie to you, just after the war, the United States of America will be able to work on the Liberia, just do a geo-analysis of the entire resources in this country, and you can be able to give Liberia up to $10 billion. And you can be able to, like the Marshall Plan, you can have a plan for Liberia of $10 billion to transform the entire country.
There is this view, and I need your candid opinion on it, that you young cadres on the continent that espouse this Pan-Africanism will most likely confuse military dictatorship or promote military dictatorship that are disguised as Pan-African struggle. And I need your view on it. For example, recently we saw some African nations, the youth from some African countries celebrate the captain in Burkina Faso, who the manner in which he grabbed power was not through the way of the people and all of that, but he's been celebrated as a Pan-Africanist.
Yes, he's been celebrated.
That's promoting.
And I think you can remember when we visited the French embassy and the American embassy in our petition. I think yes, you have on the show and we talk about this, right? And you may call, yes, it was a military takeover, but sometimes in life, when those that should give you what you should get cannot allow the system that has been established and let it kind of liberal democracy to make people to take charge of that, because maybe they are new, they are poor, they are this, they are that. But if there is another means that you can be able to take over and be very clear, and that's the reason why, if you take over as a military person, you must be the defender of the poor. Thomas Sankara, Ibrahim Traore, all these people, they are the defender of the poor. And when you are the defender of the poor, you are not wrong. It does not matter the system that you are on. All we want is the poor people want to be somewhere. And if you can help them to get somewhere, and
for the poor people to be somewhere, that means you're supporting that. I mean, that happens only through military takeover. Because you mostly celebrate
when it's through democracy, what they would do, they would use the IMF and the World Bank, they would use other major systems, and then when you say no to it, you become a threat, insurrection, all kinds of different kinds of things put sanction on you, and do everything you can to ensure that you don't even end your journey. That's what they would do when it is democracy. But when it's military takeover, you have no question. You will be fighting to infiltrate, you will be fighting to do other things. But while the man is fighting hard, like what Ibrahim Traore is doing now in Burkina Faso, nationalize the gold mine, and the gold refinery. You now nationalize the gold, and to the extent that the natural resources in the country, you nationalize and make sure that you can be able. Liberia can buy $1.something billion worth of things what Meta Steel is doing in Liberia. We Liberians, we say we have our own company, like I was telling about the Chinese democracy. You go to China, you always see every road manufacturing company that is there is from a region. The road manufacturing company, Nima Road Manufacturing, Nima Construction, the other Nima this, the other. Anything that we want to do is all about those companies, the CEOs coming together to decide on how they will be able to share the profit, and they can be able to collectively engage in those things and solve the food problem. If you have the company,
is that what Traore is doing?
Yes, Burkina Faso, tomato. You see what he's doing. Factories, Guys,
we're talking about whole country. You're talking about tomato factory and all that.
Yeah, but they were importing a lot of tomatoes in Burkina Faso too, and now he's exporting it. All right, you go there and see the way he's transforming agriculture, working with the local people to solve the problem, solving the poor people problem. If it is a focus, Imama at Pan-Africanists, we know that this Western liberal democracy was imposed on us. We did not accept it. We did not establish our own form of government like the way Chinese are. Even the democracy today, you have electoral colleges in the United States of America. They cannot allow us to have electoral colleges in Africa. You have the Queen in England. You cannot allow the Queen in Africa or King in Africa. All these kinds of things are all hypocritical until we can be able to tell the next group of leaders that this idea of a liberal democracy will never bring unity. See what's happening in this country.
I thought if you celebrate Ibrahima Traore, you're agreeing that all of those critical voices that are incarcerated in Burkina deserve it. They clamp down on free speech is justified, right?
No, I will not just say clamp down on free speech.
But you know
it's justified. What I would propaganda.
But these are the things happening.
Free speech is different from propaganda.
What is free speech?
And that's the reason why you talk about Paul Kagame in Rwanda. You don't go there. Even some of the shows they have there, everything is about the P. Progress, prosperity, promotion. Everything is about the P in Rwanda. All talk shows is all about the P. You don't go there. So
that is censorship. You know that?
Yeah?
Why is there no P? Why in the case
it's not about the P. Development, progress, you know, all just be about the P.
So even if these things are not there,
progressing, you can talk about Rwanda not progressing. Which African country can try even cleanliness to Rwanda? Go to Rwanda and see young people in technology. See the education. We want to lead
Rwanda is a democracy. Rwanda is a democracy. We're talking about Burkina Faso. We're talking about Guinea.
No, Rwanda is democracy.
No, but they go to election.
They go to election. So there is democracy there. So we accept that one. But Burkina Faso, we don't know. But I think Ibrahim Traore, we don't know how long. But so long as set in place some systems, and I know he will try to transform into democracy, maybe the Chinese democracy, and we will be all supporting for that.
And his name is Arthur Wawili, and of course,
we'll talk a little bit about the PLO.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're coming to. So he's been our guest here. We're talking a wide range of issues relative to Pan-Africanism, the concept, the idea, and of course, the comparative analysis between that and of course the systems we have. And all of that. So, but yeah, he represents the PLO Lumumba, and you all out there, intellectuals who follow the workings of the Kenyan professor PLO Lumumba. So they have a foundation here. Let's talk about that briefly.
Yeah, quickly. Thank you very much. And the PLO Lumumba Foundation, you know, when Professor visited here in 2017, he visited the Pan-African Conscious Corner, where I run the Pan-African Conscious Corner. Through the help of Al Mustafa Sheikh Kuyate, who is the advisor, he's one of the international advisor to the bull in Kenya. He allowed Professor to visit the Pan-African Conscious Center and CO. And the Pan-African Conscious Center and CO, Pan-African Conscious Center is the intellectual center too. But based on the way we do intellectualism, we're not like, that yet. So when Professor visited the center, he said he was going to work. And for that time, we started working with him. I became the country representative in 2001. I went there, visited him in Kenya. But the concept of a PLO Lumumba Foundation, the whole started in the early 90s. And by 1994, the foundation was established. And for that time, we have been involved. Over 38 countries in Africa, we have been involved in nurturing young leaders in this country, in the youth and student community.
Do they help in the economic life of the poor and struggling people, or they just give speeches and lectures?
No, like now, on his birthday, on the 17th of July, we're working on the 17th or the 18th to launch a clothing line. We have started producing African fabrics with the help of Professor Lumumba. He sent some money for us to develop, and we're producing those clothes and we're making it very cheap, going to the community and making sure that our mothers, very poor people, will be able to afford to buy some of those things. And after production, we'll get more profit. We'll also be asking people to support and the clothing line for the orphan. We want to start sewing some clothes and sharing those clothes with the orphan, and that's what the foundation is doing. We have organized a series of a mentorship program for young people. 2020, we had a very big one at City Hall, and we were then involved with grassroots, educational program at the Pan-African Conscious Center, watching documentaries, because that's one thing in Liberia we are now too used to. Documentary is something that is very good. You have to allow your young people to watch more documentaries and understand some of the Western conspiracies and lies. Can be very, very understood when you watch documentaries and read books. You will be able to see the players, people who are there and actors. So the foundation is still alive and well, and we just thank all our people who have embraced Professor idea. It's not just about the talking. Professor has been doing a lot, giving book scholarship all around the continent. He's there. And in Liberia, we started even.
Do you have scholarships in Liberia?
No, for Liberia, we don't have scholarship. We started an agriculture program. No, but the thematic areas, you don't be able to solve all the problems. So you take agriculture, and we started agriculture. It did not go too well, and now we go on the clothing line, and then yes. Basically, those are the kind of things, and then we provide some mentorship to young people and guiding them in the leadership structure.
So you're focusing on the commercial aspect?
No, I'm talking about mentorship. We provide mentorship for the young people. All right, training them.
But no scholarship?
No, for now, we don't have scholarship. So, and one thing about the foundation, we don't go begging people for grant. We don't write UC.
How do you raise money?
Through these kinds of self-help initiative, self-reliance is the whole thing. But the whole concept of Marcus Garvey. So we have to.
So you sell clothes, you make money.
Yeah, for now we just starting. So we sell the clothes, we sell stickers of Pan-Africanists, we sell a lot of things, photos of a Pan-Africanist, and people buy them.
Can you point to leaders in Liberia that subscribe to the whole concept and they work with you to give you support? I mean, I want to understand. I want to gauge.
A lot of leaders in this country, a lot of them do not love to come too close to Pan-Africanism. It's sad.
Why do you think so?
Because of American dominance in Liberia. Even the U.S. Embassy, when they hear Pan-Africanism, they don't support you.
Has that in any way threatened Liberia's position in the Pan-African realm?
Yes. We're supposed to be the lead in Pan-Africanism. But because of that, a lot of African countries now are hating Liberians.
I mean, I've kind of heard this in cycles that other countries sees Liberia probably then and even now as not full-fledged Pan-African.
No,
that we've always been a spy agent for the West.
Yes, even the demonstration. You heard that one day. In other African countries, there was no way you saw police stopping people. But in Liberia, we saw the national police stopping a peaceful demonstrator. Can you imagine, we had to hide and provide a strategy, because when the other group are going to the Ivorian embassy, we had another group around the American embassy waiting for those guys to join us. But so long the police stopped them, we allowed them to remain there. We went straight to Red and we went straight to the French embassy. Before the police could come, we were already out.
Did they use water cannon?
No, they were just telling them to move on the street. And tell them to move on the street. And why? There are few people. You just tell them to move on the street. Our leaders are destroying the future of Pan-Africanism, especially Liberia road in Africa's development. We'll get in the future. We'll go somewhere to say Liberians are spies. Liberians are America sending Liberians. How will we be?
Do you hear these things outside of the border?
Yes. I'm part of a lot of Pan-African groups. Like I tell you, I went to Kenya. We're in so many big groups. They look at Liberia as being spies, but the way some of us we present ourselves among them and argue with them that Liberia, everyone women blinding from Liberia is the fire of Pan-Africanism. Marcus Garvey learned from them.
Have you been to Ethiopia?
No. Come and learn from Elmer Woman Blinding. Elmer Woman Blinding has his great in Sierra Leone. Today, what are we doing about that?
But we hear a lot when Pan-Africanism is spoken about. We hear a lot about Kwame Nkrumah. We hear a lot about Sekou Touré and Julius Nyerere.
Yeah.
So not much is heard about William V. Stockman and even
Elmer Woman Blinding.
Even our city there, where the OAU was signed. Not much is talked about.
It's talked about because we are not selling ourselves. We are not. If you don't tell a story, nobody going to tell a story.
Our words are not probably meeting our actions. so they do not see us genuine.
Yes, if you don't tell that story, nobody will tell that story. So that's it. Yeah.
Okay, so time has come with us 3 minutes. Let's take few calls. These are very long conversations.
Yeah.
So we're having them 0776 104 104 086 500 104. Good morning. 086 500 104. The numbers.
Where?
Actually, I listened to the conversation to the end. I've all what that guy is saying about the Chinese democracy. You see, China today, Donald Trump sat down and said he's going to put 150% tariffs on China. What China thinks? China with all their might is taking those tariffs also. American democracy for Africa is like a camp. Like the brother was saying, our legislators don't have power in the country. The power in the country is from the Masonic House to the U.S. Embassy, back to the president directly.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Let's talk to this person. Good morning. Morning. Where are we?
I'm going to add it. Get way out of you. Yeah, look, the leadership. Don't you respect him, right?
Okay. All right.
Let's talk to this person.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Where?
Yeah, my name is Alpha Jerry. I'm calling from Canada.
Where?
All right. First of all, I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity and the thanks to the.
Go ahead. Go to your phone. We don't have much time. Go to your phone.
Yeah. Okay. For me, I am one of the Pan-Africanists. Just like my activity can permit me to become part of their activities. But you know, for that, we are scared people. Oh, that is why we are scared to be part of the Africanism. You know, and Africa is especially the young people of this continent, we call to tell our story, to take our future and the coming generation.
All right.
We are going nowhere.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. That one last one.
Yes, we can have it. So we can move on right here.
Okay. Do we have a job to make?
Not yet. System.
Okay, so after time is actually now a friend in this business. So just before you leave us, just include this in your parting comment. Is Pan-Africanism anti-America or the West?
No, Pan-Africanism. Americans are the beginning of, they were the beginning of hope, the searchlight for justice. But later on, the way America, after taking over Great Britain, and now we all believe that, oh, she's the worst superpower. America is the most powerful nation. So Pan-Africanism would not be able to go and say, oh, we're targeting America, we ought to fight America, we ought to do America. No, America has the power, but America must understand that other people have to live. So when they don't allow us to live, we express ourselves about how they're treating us. And I think there will be a generation in America that will be able to understand and pay reparation to Africa for some of the things they did to us. And I want to say thank you very much. And all the people that are listening, let us all know that Liberia has a pivotal role. Africa will only be great when Liberia is great. Africa is waiting for Liberia. And the day Liberia gets to that stage, we will declare, we can declare war on anybody here. And Liberia, Africa is waiting for.
Why should we declare war?
Because that's the only way. When we want to infiltrate our system here, we say, no, don't come, you want to wait war. We ourselves will be prepared to fight you. but then the whole Africa will be waiting to fight you. But now,
how many manpower will go?
No, I'm talking about Liberia. I'm talking about Africa waiting for Liberia. When Liberia takes that leadership role, and Africa to speak at the leading African country, we can wage war on any country in the world. Because let me tell you something, Africans know what Liberians can do.
What thing we get right now, the war right now, that's not regular guerrilla thing that we need. Right now, how you call it, that drone warfare happening.
Yeah, like bro, we develop. How do I develop? Burkina Faso have already started preparing the drone. other African countries will do. But yeah, thanks very much for the show. But I can tell you, Africa is waiting for Liberia. So let's push the Pan-African dream and continue to make it alive. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. So, kindly, it has been a very fascinating conversation. And after it's always a good discussion to have. And it has been a great thing. Higa, we got to go.
We'll be here tomorrow for the midweek edition of the program. Until then, let's keep the peace of Liberia. This is the only country that we cannot be deported from.
Most definitely. Many thanks to all of you that joined, follow, call, and participated. We believe these conversations are good for the young folks to widen their horizon and explore more and understand complex realities. That's why we are here. My name is Abu Higa. Until we see you tomorrow, do have yourself a wonderful time. Bye-bye.